All right, hello, and welcome to the CDO Magazine audience for another installment in our CDO Magazine Executive Interview Series. I'm Kirk Ball, EVP and CIO of Giant Eagle and a member of the CDO Magazine editorial board. And I'm pleased today to be joined by Habib, who is the co-founder and CEO of Writer. Writer is a generative AI platform for the enterprise with proprietary foundation models and a customizable application layer. Writer supports generative AI use cases across marketing, support, product, HR, and more. So welcome, May.
Oh, thank you, Kirk. Thanks for having me.
One of the things that I really thought was interesting when had a chance to hear you speak was kind of the methodology that you have for helping companies figure out, where do I get started? So there was this basically heat map kind of a concept that you talked about a little bit. And I think that's, to some degree, I think that's part of the challenge, is just figuring out, there are tons of opportunities, but how do I really sit down and put some heat map logic to what's the value, what's the time to implement? Can you talk a little bit about that methodology and that process that you go through to help folks figure out, where should I start?
Yeah, great. Maybe we kind of give an overview of how people implement Writer as context. So we are a full stack generative AI platform, and you can build any use case you want on top of Writer, because we are combining a large language model with a knowledge graph with UI that your experts can actually use, with AI guardrails, of course. And so folks can start in HR, they can start in finance and IT, they can start in portfolio management operations, they can start in marketing. And the ability to help a leadership team, especially on a CDO or CIO's team, say, for your business, your industry, this team, here's where we've seen others be the most successful, the most quickly. Here are the sets of use cases. We think about the skills of Writer across 3 dimensions: create and edit, which is what most people are associating with generative AI right now; analyze and research, which we're together with our customers, really kind of uncovering the great use cases that allow everybody to do the analysis and research that is time consuming, especially in enterprise. And then lastly, transform and repurpose. So video to text to audio, content into training, training into scripts. All of the kind of things that are hard to put together until you've seen somebody else or heard about somebody else doing. So once we identify, which function we are going to start with, we will introduce this concept of a heat map for that team based on what we've learned doing this with other customers in that industry. And then it's really a matter of making sure that the resourcing is against it. So, by use case, a fine-tuning approach versus a prompt engineering approach versus an indexing approach may be appropriate. And we take that on. What the customer's responsibility is a couple of things. It's the data. It is agreeing to the roadmap of building out the heat map with us. And one of the best practices that we have seen, on the last point, is a AI program management office, right, to keep everybody on track. And that has been, in addition to kind of a strategic rollout, been one of the secret weapons, I think, of our customers who have done this, incredibly successfully. Is folks aren't doing it off the side of their desk anymore. It's no longer, that marketer tinkerer or like citizen developer, on the HR team or the comms team that is figuring this out. It's somebody's full-time job now to build out these use cases on the secure platform that we've got, Writer, and showcase them, talk about ROI on them, kind of spread the gospel inside of the company. And we've seen that be really successful.
Yeah, I think that's a really good process that you've got. You're teaching people how to fish. You take them through a couple of iterations, deliver some capability, and then they can take that methodology and they can continue to apply it ad infinitum as they work to identify all the generative AI use cases throughout the organization. So I think that's really good.
Yep.
As we kind of get to the end of our discussion, I'd like for you to just mention a couple of use cases
Yeah.
where Ryder has, added extreme value, and the use of your platform has really transformed, some opportunities for enterprises.
Yeah, we'll mention a couple on a no names basis. A top 5 beauty brand that has automated across 40 of their brands. It's a conglomerate. The creation of all of the product documentation for thousands of SKUs across the 40 brands. And, depending on which retailer is carrying which SKU of which brand, and the subcategory of that item, be it skincare versus cosmetics, they have automated the content creation and, very critically, the QA for editorial guidelines by retailer. And that was a enormously time-consuming process. So, tens of millions of dollars of savings across those 40 brands in aggregate. And, it's all been automated via API now, which is really exciting for them. And in the healthcare space, a top 5 healthcare provider here in the U.S., automating a incredibly deep set of research reports and briefings that they share with the market. Hundreds of thousands of medical professionals globally see these briefs and research reports, and the AI expert combination here, because these are, expert healthcare researchers, journalists, et cetera, who are producing this content. How they've integrated Ryder into their process, I think is just incredibly powerful. It is, not human in the loop. It is very much this expert AI balance. And, things that used to take hours now take minutes. And in those hours, those researchers can go much deeper into a particular topic, be it, skyrocketing cost of cancer drugs to like new long COVID therapeutics. And that has been really exciting for the company, and one of, dozens of kind of similar types of very impactful use cases.
Yeah, no, I've looked at your roster of clients that you've got published on your website. It's a pretty broad set of customers that you're working with, or clients that you're working with across a number of industries. So it really kind of speaks to the applicability of your platform and its ability to add value regardless of what industry that you're in. May, any last words for our audience?
Oh, thank you, Kirk. I appreciate that. I think the learning starts when you start. It is a really powerful thing when it is our chief data officers and chief ML folks and heads of AI and heads of IT organizations who are encouraging the exploration in a secure way of, what is possible here. Those have been the strongest outcomes, is when it's a partnership between the business lines of business owners and the IT and data orgs. So really encourage the audience to get in touch and hear more about how other chief data officers are using tools like Ryder and platforms like us. And hopefully we can help.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. Learn from others, regardless of whether it's a company like yours, whether it's others that are using your capability and technology. I know in my journey of learning, constant learning, I try to seek advice and input from tons of different mechanisms and avenues and other folks in other industries. Listen, May, I really want to thank you for spending time with us. I know you're on the West Coast and we're doing this in the morning, and it's really early for you. But so I appreciate you taking time to spend some time with us.
You got it.
And for our audience, I would encourage you to check out Ryder. A very impressive platform, and take a look, see what you think.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.